Hello class, this is your teacher Mr. McDougall with your next project tutorial. We are still in Unit 4, the shot list, and we're on lesson number 5 from the shot list, camera gear. So far we've done shot sizes, framing, angles, and then focus in the previous assignment. Now we've moved on to gear, which is the different types of camera gear that filmmakers use to get a shot. So the structure is the same as the previous assignments. Watch the Studio Binder YouTube video first on shot list episode 5, Camera Rigs Explained. And then as you're watching the video, take notes here. Take at least 15 notes from the video. You should have no problem getting enough notes for this one because there is a lot of gear that the video talks about. And I will recap it very quickly here with the ones that we can talk about or the ones that we will be able to at least practice. So camera gear, again, using the different types of gear like gimbals, stabilizers, tripods, all that stuff that we use to make awesome videos. So the first one is actually no gear at all. That is a handheld shot, which, as you can tell from this clip, is you just hold the camera in your hands and it creates a shaky camera effect. So this is good for cool action scenes, like if there's running, jumping, fighting, anything like that, you want this shaky cam effect because it makes it more intense. You just hold the camera in your hand to get this effect. You don't need any gear at all. The next one, opposite, is the tripod shot, which you are familiar with the tripod. You lock the camera on a tripod so it does not move. We haven't gotten into camera movement yet, so whenever we use the camera on the tripod, we're not moving anything. It allows the person to look around the room without being distracted. With the shaky cam, you can't really see a lot. This one allows you to see everything that's happening and focus on what's happening with the characters without being distracted by any other kinds of movement. The next one is the pedestal, and this is where the camera moves either up or down. So you can see from this example right here with Buzz, the camera is moving up. That is a pedestal shot. It goes back a little bit, but then primarily it goes up. It's good for dramatic reveals. You can start with a ground level shot and work your way up to an eye level shot, as you see here. This one will you move with or without the camera. We don't have a pedestal, but I'll show you how to use it at the end of this video. You can use your handheld tripod or a podium to create the movement, but the thing you need to keep in mind is that it needs to be smooth. You can see from the example that it's a smooth shot. You don't want it to be shaky. Next one is a crane and a jib. This one is where the camera is attached to a giant crane arm that allows the camera to move around a large area. So this is good for big sweeping landscape shots, or if you're trying to get far away, go into an extreme high angle or overhead. The camera is attached to a giant crane for this one. So there's no specific movement or direction that you're going. It's just the gear that we use for it. We do not have a crane, so we will not be doing this kind of shot. However, I do want you to be aware of it because we will talk about it again later. The next one we will be practicing is a dolly shot. You saw this one from the video. The dolly is something with wheels that the camera can be attached to so it moves smoothly around on the ground, either side to side or forward and backwards. It's good for tracking movements like push-in and tracking shots, which we will get into in the next lesson for camera movement. That's where you follow a person around, as you can see from this example. That's where, again, where you're just pushing the camera around on something with wheels. The next one that we will get to practice is the snorri cam. This one is really fun. This is where the camera is actually attached to the subject. It's strapped to their body with a mechanical device. So we don't have a snorri cam, however we will be able to recreate this one using a tripod holding it against your body, and I'll show you again how to do that at the end of this presentation. You'll be able to move around and show us your perspective. This one could be a lot of fun. I'm going to enjoy what you guys create with this one. Lastly, one of the most important ones that it talked about is a drone. Drone shot is like an RC helicopter that you can control, and it's got a camera on it. So you can pilot this thing around to get really cool aerial shots. So you can get high angles, overheads. Great establishing shots are gotten with a drone. It does require a special license to have a drone. I actually have my drone pilot's license. It is very hard to get, and it's managed by the FAA, or the Federal Aviation Administration. So you do need to take a semi-legitimate pilot's license in order to operate this sort of thing. We are working on developing a drone program here. We don't have any that we're going to practice with right now. However, it is in the works to make drones available to this class. As always, you will get in your groups with your cameras, SD cards, and it says necessary gear, so whatever gear you're going to use, like the podium or the tripod, to take your videos. We are moving on to video now for the rest of this unit. For these other lessons, we're not going to take pictures anymore because we want to see the movement from the gear and the camera it's attached to it. So you're getting, just like we did with the rack focus in the previous lesson, you are going to take very short 5 to 10 second video clips. That's all. Not a lot. So when you go back to the classwork, you'll see here it's just like the rack focus one from the previous assignment, where you just need to put the video, and you're not going to be able to put your exposure settings, but you do still need to tell me your various shot sizes, framing, angles, and focus that we've been practicing over the several lessons. So there's only videos that you're going to attach here now. We moved on to video for the rest of this unit, so you're just doing these. There's no more photos. Also, it's a little too difficult to find online examples, so you don't need to find online examples for this lesson either. You just can go straight into recording your videos. But make sure you are properly labeling it with, again, variety in all these. Each set of shots, so your 2 handheld videos, here's handheld 1 and then handheld 2, they should be different on these. Different shot sizes, different framing, different angles, and different focus. We have so many different kinds that we practice. You should have no problem coming up with a variety of shots. And even though the video talked about lots of different types of gear, just refer to the cheat sheet for the ones that you'll be practicing. So we're just practicing these 5 right here: handheld, tripod, pedestal, dolly, and snorri cam. I know we talked about it a lot, but we don't have a crane or a jib or underwater housing or vehicle mounts or anything like that. So we're not going to be practicing any of those. I just want you to focus on these 5 right here, okay? And I'll show you how to do it right now. Hi class. So this is going to be a quick demo on how to use some of the camera gear that we've been talking about in our Studio Binder shot list unit. So we don't have access to all of the gear in our classroom, but there's some that we're still going to try to practice anyway, or at least mimic the movement that it resembles on screen. So let me show you a couple ways we're going to do that with the ones that we are practicing. The very first one is a handheld movement, and that one's actually really easy because there's no gear involved at all. You just hold the camera in your hand. So the point of this one is that it's okay for it to be shaky. So as you're recording, if you're like running and jumping and moving around, the camera is not smooth. It is shaking a little bit as you record your video. So this one you could do like a fun action thing, like someone's running or jumping or skipping and you're like kind of following them, and it's okay if it's shaky and not smooth. The rest of them we want to be smooth, but this one is the one exception because sometimes it does call for a shaky cam, and that's okay. So this one you're just holding the camera. This one's super easy to do. As you're recording your video, you're just moving the camera around and following it to have that shake, like a more intimate feel. The second one you're going to use is not going to have any movement at all. It's going to be the tripod shot. So you're going to put the camera on the tripod, like you already know how to do from when we did rack focus. I showed you guys how to use the tripod. So this one, there's no movement at all. Similar to how you're watching me right now. The camera recording this is on a tripod. It eliminates distraction. There's no distracting shaking, so you can just focus on me and what's happening in the video. So this one, as you record, your actors have to move in front of the camera. So there's no shakiness, no intimate feel. You want things happening, have people moving around. Again, very short clip, only needs to be about 5 to 10 seconds. But just make sure you have something interesting happening, like a person can walk across the screen or something, but there's no shake, there's no movement in the camera at all with the tripod shot. The next ones are going to have some movement in it, but they're going to be smooth movement. The next one is the pedestal. We don't have a pedestal, but we can mimic the movement. And that one is where the camera either moves down or it moves up. That is the pedestal shot. So you could do it handheld if you can keep it smooth. If you're going to move it down like this, I can keep it pretty smooth, but if you're moving it up and down and it's a little shaky as it's coming up and down, that wouldn't be a good pedestal. You want it to be nice and smooth. One tip that you can do is to use your legs and not your arms. If you keep your elbows tucked in and you bend with your knees, that's an easier way to go slow and smooth in your shot, kind of like this. So it was a much smoother shot you saw on screen. If you still want to keep it even smoother than that, if you can't keep it that smooth with your own hands, you can use things around the classroom like this podium right here. The podium goes up and down, and that can mimic the pedestal movement. So if I have the camera right here, and I move the pedestal down, cord got a little tangled right there, but it's okay, you can go up and down too, like that. So that gives you that, again, that smoother, this moves a lot smoother than your body. You don't have a lot of range of motion with this. It only goes, a few inches up and down, so if you want a bigger range of motion, I would recommend going handheld, but you can use this one for more subtle movements. The other thing you can take advantage of with the podium is for the next shot, which is the dolly shot. The dolly shot is where the camera is on something that has wheels, so it can freely move around. And again, the dolly has wheels, which makes it perfect for that. So as long as you keep the camera on the dolly, you can then push it around. It doesn't matter which direction you want to move it. You can move it forward, backwards, side to side. Again, as long as it's staying smooth. Nice, smooth, easy transition with your shot. See how it's gliding instead of like a handheld where it's shaky? Now it's gliding nice and smooth. One little tip, if you're using this, is to position your wheels, preset your wheels, so you don't get that little shake that happens. Right now I just pulled this back so my wheels are facing towards me. So when I start to move forward, the wheels are going to spin and it's going to cause a little shake in the dolly. So watch. See, that was the wheels shifting right there. So a tip is to preset your wheels by putting them in the direction you're already going to go. So if I want to move forward, I'm going to move the dolly so the wheels are already facing forward, so my shot will be a lot smoother now. Now if I push it, much smoother, much smoother. It doesn't have that little shake like it had when the wheels are facing the wrong way. The last one we're going to do is the snorri cam. And the snorri cam is where the camera is mounted to the person. But this one we don't have a snorri cam, we don't have a mount for the camera, but again, we can mimic it with the tripod. So for this one, I'm going to set the camera up on the tripod again. This. We're going to put the tripod at its lowest setting. And you might need help from your partner. So if you put it like this, now you have your own snorri cam. So now you can have the tripod. Again, if you have it braced against your body, now I have a little snorri cam. So you can walk around, we can get your perspective as you're looking around. This is the one you saw in the video clip where it looks like the camera is staying on me the entire time. So that is how you would do the snorri cam with the tripod. You might need your friend to help you press the record button, make sure its shot size is set up correctly, but that is how you're going to do it. Okay? So those are the different types of camera gear that you guys will practice in class. As always, have fun and let me know if you have any questions.